So I'm going to be showing you guys how I made my Albedo wings for my Albedo cosplay for DreamCon. So I started with this foam that I got from Walmart. I got a lot of it, but I ended up only using one roll. And then I also got this galvanized wire from Home Depot, very inexpensive, don't go to the craft store. Then I also got some paint, but I'll tell you later that I did use spray paint and it was better. I have a wire cutter as well. And then the first thing that I started to do was I made the shape of the wings, or like the base that I was going to build off of, and I just cut that out with foam. I just free-handed it, honestly, and then I just traced it for the opposite side, as you can see me doing here. After I cut both the wings, you can see me here just checking for the placement, because Albedo's wings kind of sit really low on her hips and they kind of come out forward, which I realized later on I wasn't going to do all of that because I had to like sit down and walk around people at the convention, but I did still want to make sure they fit kind of exactly where they sit on her body. So this, you see me painting the foam. It's not that painting foam is bad, but one, I definitely wouldn't do it again as the first step because I ended up covering a lot of parts, so it was kind of like wasted time. And two, spray paint's better. So this was the first coat and I ended up having to do multiple, and like I said, wouldn't do it again. The next thing that I'm doing is I'm taking the galvanized wire and I'm just starting to really just make random little pieces of wire that I'm going to hot glue to the foam, because this is how I'm going to give the foam some more body so it's not like so flimsy. You know, I want to give it some structure, some shape. So I was just really kind of winging it. I was actually watching Overlord while I was doing this, just rewatching it because I love it bad and they haven't come out with another season. But anyways, so basically I was just like winding different pieces of wire together and then just laying them out on the foam. There wasn't really any method to the madness. I just knew I needed the foam itself to have some structure to it and not be so floppy. So I was just going to sporadically put in little wire pieces. And so I went ahead and doubled up on them, and so they stayed together, I kind of wrapped them around each other. But basically that's all I did through this step. And then in the next step, I'm going to show you guys how I glue it down. So gluing it down was super simple. Basically, I just took extra pieces of the foam and glued it over top where I wanted the wire to go by putting the glue directly on the wire. And then I just used this random like paintbrush thing just so I could press it down, because at first like I was really like burning my fingers and getting glue stuck to it. Like you can obviously tell this is like my first cosplay DIY, but honestly it came out good and I'm proud of it. So the next thing I did after that was I got my little wheel cutter thing. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I'm cutting up the foam feather pieces. These are going to be like the extra feathers to add more to the wing base that I made. So I basically just took some big chunks of the foam, and mind you, I only used one thing of foam for it, and went ahead and cut those. There were some that I also cut that were already painted, but they weren't as like, they didn't have as much shape. You can see like they look kind of flat. So I ended up using them, but I mostly went through with more foam that I hadn't done yet. And then you can see me here. What I'm doing is just gluing onto the feathers that I've cut out with the foam, and I'm just doing it kind of sporadically. Like I said, there's really no method to the madness because like they're wings. Like there's nothing uniform about creatures' wings. Like they might be the same shape, but they're not exactly the same, you know? So like it's just, we're just winging it, going in, having fun, just gluing and, you know, making these wings. But like they came out real good. You'll see, you'll see, you'll see. But this is what happened after, or this is what it looked like after I have finished gluing them on. And I ended up gluing them on both sides because when I just did the one side, I wasn't crazy about like how it looked overall. So I went ahead and did both sides with gluing on the foam feathers. And then y'all, I found feathers on sale at Michael's, so I bought like 50,000 packs of them and I glued those on. And I also added Velcro so I could attach it to my dress. So the Velcro wasn't going to be the end all be all. Like I did have another thing that you guys will see that I did so the wings stay secure, but basically I just glued them to the back of the wings, and then they're also attached to the dress. And I think next time I would sew them rather than use the adhesive sticky one. This is the paint that I started to use later on because I needed to repaint the new feathers that I had added. And then you can see there I added the feathers that I got from Michael's, although I only added those really mainly to the back side and then the outer parts of the inside. And then here you'll see I added some string and I just secured it with another piece of foam. Some string that I attached through to both wings so I could actually wrap them around me just for extra support, because like I said, I didn't trust the Velcro. And this is the Velcro on the back of the dress, so I had it like heavy duty, like several straps. By the end of the day, it was a wrap. But this, y'all, this is the final product. I was so happy with this, like honestly. And then on top of that, if you can believe it, it fit perfectly in my suitcase. Now I would say the wings were a little flat. I should have like pulled out some of the feathers more, because I did put wire in there so they had that structure. But either way, I feel like they came out so good for my own little DIY. And here in a second you guys will see what it looked like in my cosplay. But yeah, that was it. So if you want to try it, I promise you guys everything was super inexpensive. I'll leave everything down below in the description box. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.